Welcome, everybody, to the Genesis Project Podcast. Business principles for beginners from the School of Hard Knocks. They say that success leaves clues. In this podcast, we're going to discover the clues that it leaves behind, and we're going to start at the very beginning. We'll get into the weeds of how the guests of the show came up with their business ideas, the why behind their business ideas, how they dealt with setbacks and failures, what keeps them pushing forward, and the emotions behind it all. Everyone wants to start a business, but many are held back by something that keeps them from starting. We'll learn what it takes to get to the next level of business and beyond, and we're learning together through different principles of people who graduated from the School of Hard Knocks. So, grab you a pen, some paper, and a highlighter to take notes, because class is in session. Hey, welcome to the Genesis Project Podcast. My name is Bernard Gleaton. I am the Chancellor of the School of Hard Knocks, and we have another wonderful guest professor onto the show today. I can't wait to hear this brother speak. We've kind of spoke on a couple of occasions, and I'm just telling you guys now that you guys are in for a treat. So let's welcome to the classroom, Guest Professor Mark Kumar. Say what's up to the class.
Hello guys, hello class, whatever you want to call it. I'm so honored to be here. I know we are going to have a really good time talking about a lot of stuff that you guys can actually implement, take action, and have a business. Or if you already have a business, we're going to tell you more tips and tricks that you can utilize your business to take it to the next level. So I'm excited. I'm really pumped up for this. So awesome.
I'm excited too. Have you ever thought that you would be considered a professor?
Not even in my wildest dream. So this is like I guess in a way it's like an honor to be a professor.
Now you got something to tell your parents. Hey, I was a professor for a day.
Exactly. So, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. All right. So, Guest Professor Mark Kumar, I want to give you the opportunity to tell the class a little bit about yourself. So give us a quick bio on who you are and what you got going on.
All right, so my name is Mark Kumar. I am a lifestyle entrepreneur. And those of you who may not know what in the world is a lifestyle entrepreneur, lifestyle entrepreneurs are those that integrate their life and their professional together so it becomes one rather than two. I know a lot of people struggle trying to balance their professional life as well as their personal life. And there are a lot of conflicts that happen. So lifestyle entrepreneur, they're balance their professional and professional life all is at one. So when they work, they don't feel like they're working. And this whole thing started back in when I was doing the photography. And one Christmas time, I got a camera for my Christmas present. And I was so stoked, just like any guy would be or any girl would be. They were like, hey, I got myself a really nice camera and I'm excited. And, I'm going to play around with this thing and so on and so forth. So I started playing around with it and I was excited taking pictures. And my first models were, you would never guess it. They were tables, chair, and trees. Those were my first models that I took pictures of. And I was like, wow, even those were not like really exciting people or things, but the enthusiasm, the excitement that I have taken pictures of those things was unreal for me. So for me, it was like, wow, amazing stuff. So then I moved on to taking pictures of my family member. One thing led to another. Other people found out that like, hey, Mark is a professional photographer. He can take a picture. And then one day, a friend of a family member called me up and said, hey, I want to hire you to take a picture of my event. And I was like in completely shock at first. I'm like, what? You want to hire me, pay me for something that I actually truly enjoy? And I was, wow, like I guess you would call it, that was my Genesis moment when I was like, wow, I get to do what I want and I love it and I'm excited about it. And people are going to pay for my services. And mind you, at that time, I had no skills whatsoever. After I did the event, that's when I realized like, hey, I need to actually get really, really good at so I can nurture this baby and grow it into a beautiful flower of my business photography thing. So I learned about posing, lighting, and then before you know it, I had my little side gig at the time, photography gig, where I was shooting portrait, I did wedding, I did fashion shoot. But what happened as more of those things, these three things that I did, the more and more I fell into it. I was like, wow, this is amazing. Because I would get up and then, do these things and I would be so pumped. One time I remember I was shooting a wedding for like good 8 hours up there. And when I was doing the wedding thing, I didn't eat because I was so busy taking picture, capturing these uncandid moments that I know my bride and groom will cherish it for the years and years to come. And then I was like, wow. And then by the time I came home, I couldn't wait, literally couldn't wait to plug my micro SD card in the computer and go to those pictures. I'm like, wow. So that right there for me, it was like, wow, I'm actually, at that time, I was like, I'm actually living the dream, like enjoying my life, enjoy the work that I do, and people appreciate it, and I get paid for it. Like, it doesn't get any better than that. I'm like on cloud nine. And then later on, what I did was take my business to another level. Like, I started teaching other photographers, like what I was doing, what was working for me, what made me successful, what made my business profitable. And I was running my business, photography business, at 85% pure profit. And the only 15% was my expenses, which is like no other photographer at the time when I was doing it were doing it. So they came into my workshop, which I did like one-on-one workshop. And then they learned a lot. And then some of the people who were in the business, and I'm talking literally in the business for like 5-10 years, they were coming to my class or my workshop and learning from me. For me, that was like, wow, I was literally taken away from like, what, these guys been here longer than I have. And I've been only in business for like 6 months. And you come into my workshop to learn from me, like that was like, wow, another Genesis moment. Like, wow, I can't believe I'm actually changing people's life. So that was like, wow. So from there, I went on to other things and other projects and other businesses. But wow, that was like, I need to continue this thing. And then, I went on. And then from there, I went into the web development business because I was doing my photography and doing all the things, but I didn't have a website. I literally didn't have a website, which if I tell other people, I'm like, that's crazy. Before you even get a camera, you need to get a website. And then after you get a camera, then some people are like, then you get a website. But I didn't have a website. I had my photo book. Literally, I was showing people like in person, like, this is the pictures I'm taking. What do you think? And some people like, oh, this is amazing. We're going to hire you. And then later on, like, if I'm really want to streamline this process, I need to have a website. So I went in, I talked to a few people for web developers. They're like, we'll charge you $10,000. I'm not making up for a simple 5-page photography website. I'm like, you crazy?
Yeah.
Like, no way. There's no way I'm going to do that. So I was like, okay. So I started fiddling around with the WordPress site and then started teaching myself HTML. And I'm talking like really hardcore HTML, JavaScript. And then at the time, the Flash back in the days when it was there, the app Flash Action 3.0, I think it was called. And then taught all of that myself. And I created my own website. And then that was like another Genesis moment. I was like, I enjoyed photography. Then I fell in love with the web development while I was doing photography. So I'm like, it's like, it doesn't stop. I'm having two different things that I absolutely enjoy and love. I'm like, there's no one else out there who's better than me. That's what I felt. Because I like two of the things that I absolutely love. Like, I say absolutely love, and I mean, one time I was working on a web development project, which was just for my own personal development. I wanted to see if I can actually do it. And it was pretty much how to create a short URL application. That's all it was. And then what I did was I didn't sleep for 41 hours, continuously worked on it. I mean, that was insane now that I think about it. But when I was doing it, I was like, this is so much fun, man. Wow. Just thinking about it is like, gives me like goosebumps. Like, wow, that was pretty amazing moment. And then, then after that, web development kind of took off. And then I started creating web development projects for other people at one of the companies, which is like a multi-million-dollar company,
Yeah.
where I worked on a project that saved them in the course of 8 months, $1.6 million. Like, wow.
Wow, man, that's amazing. In class, let me just back it up a bit, just so the class could catch up with all of that. You just gave us three Genesis moments, or I think I've counted three. You might have given us four Genesis moments, but you given us three Genesis moments. If for those of you who are brand new to the school of hard knocks, and to the podcast, let me tell you what the Genesis moment is. The Genesis moment is when you come to a road in your life where you hit that fork in the road in your life, and you see both paths, on the right and on the left. It doesn't have to be a good path, doesn't have to be a bad path. It could be either or. But you see what your life could be on those paths, and that's the Genesis moment. So, for example, I've given this example more than once. The example is me deciding to make this show. This is the Genesis moment. Me decided to get married. That's another Genesis moment. Me, trying out for the CFL, 4 years to move from high school and never playing a down in college. That's another Genesis moment. So you just heard three Genesis moments from Guest Professor Mark. Man, and let me tell you, I definitely understand what you mean by falling in love with something that you love to do, and something that you just typically enjoy to do, and to get paid. That's like the ultimate win-win right there.
Yes, absolutely, man. And that's like, that's why I came up with the whole lifestyle entrepreneur thing where,
Yeah,
hey, I enjoy what I'm doing. And there is like no other better feeling. I know there are plenty of people out there going to do their 9 to 5 job or are in business they absolutely hate. They're like, I can't do this anymore. This is so,
yeah,
oh,
yeah,
and then
yeah,
and there I am, like just enjoying it, not even worrying about sleeping, just going at it. And I hardly doubt it. Anybody out there that I know of has never went on working on a project for 41 hours straight.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. Well, there was Beyonce. I don't know if she famously said this, but she
they,
has been recorded saying that she went something like 48 hours with no sleep, just working and working and working on her craft, which is obviously, of course, a singer or an entertainer, however, or whatever category you want to place her in. But man, that's really something. So let me ask you this. You went on and told us about how you got started and everything like that. So I want you to tell us what is special about being the lifestyle entrepreneur.
there are countless number of things that are special about it. One of them is you have the freedom to do whatever the hell you want to do in terms of business and your personal life. And they're
Mm,
so intertwined. I mean, that itself, the option of having the freedom, you can go on a vacation wherever the hell you want. No one is going to tell you, like, no, that week is busy. If you
yeah,
work your regular 9 to 5 job, you
yeah,
can go on vacation wherever you want, or you can start any business you want, literally any business you want. And those of you who are listening to this show, this is what I would tell you if you're on the fence of starting a new business or getting into a business for that matter. Do this midnight test. And you might be wondering, what in the world is a midnight test? A midnight test is what that will do is, if you're not sure what skill level you are really, really good at, do this. So, for example, if you are sleeping on your comfortable bed or wherever you're sleeping, thinking about the beaches, drinking margarita, or going on a hot date or whatever, that's what you're dreaming about. And during that time, in the middle of the night, I come and wake you up. And then you're like, what happened? Like, what's going on? And then I ask you a very specific question related to the thing that you're really good at, whether it be a skill, trade, whatever. And you can answer that. That right there proves to you that you need to go and work on that skill in terms of monetizing it.
mm. So the midnight test, where you go and wake up and you're asked the question, what would you like to be doing right now? that you don't mind doing. And that's the midnight test. Am I correct in saying that?
Well, not only like what you want to do, but like for example, let's say if I'm a fitness professional, I'm a fitness personal trainer, for example, and I
Mm-hmm.
love personal trainer. I know a lot about personal trainer, but I don't know if I should go and open up my own personal trainer business. And I
Mm-hmm.
get up, I come to you and then wake you up in the middle and like, hey, how do I lose weight in next 20 months or let's just next 2 months? And you
Mm-hmm.
tell me you eat right, exercise, and then don't eat anything after 6 p.m. and things like that. You just break it down. So that will tell you like that skill right there, you know it the back of your hand.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I got you. I got you. So it's a skill that you know, like the back of your hand. That's the midnight test.
Yep.
Gotcha. Gotcha. I think that's something that the class should, and I hope is taking notes on, because that is something that is very, very true. I find that a lot of people tend to have moments like that. I myself had this moment. I was, for whatever reason, I would sleep, and I had this idea, right? And now you could call it God, you could call it higher power, you could call it whatever. I like to call it God or Doc Brown, the Doc Brown moment, right? And for any of you nerds out there, Doc Brown was the guy from Back to the Future. He slipped off his toilet, it hit his head, and that's how he came up with the idea of the flux capacitor, right? Like I said, that's only for the nerds out there. But I had I was asleep, and this idea came to me. It was a problem that I was working on throughout the day, and this had something to do with my business. And the idea came to me in the middle of the night, what I should do, how I should do it. And I I got up without waking up my wife, and I went straight to work and started doing it. And that is that's perfectly in line with that midnight test that you was just talking about.
Yeah, man, because those things, once you pass the midnight test and you go on and create a business around that particular skill, I promise you, I have done this 4 different times in 4 different industries. And you will feel like you have never worked a day in your life, and you always will get up enthusiastic, full of energy to
Yeah,
go on work on your business.
yeah, yeah. I would definitely agree with that. I would definitely agree with that. Well, let me ask you this. For someone who is trying to start a business, I would love to hear what advice you would actually give them to start their business.
I absolutely love that question. Can we do a little case study here so we can get very specific to the people who are listening? They can relate to it and then go and take action. Would
Let's
that
do
be
it.
all right with you?
I'm good with that. Let's do it.
All right, cool. So give me a industry, any industry or skill.
Well, let's get away from what we currently do, which is podcasting. Let us do uh, let's take graphic design.
Awesome. Perfect. So you are a graphic designer and you are really, really good at it. And you pass the midnight test. You're like, okay, now I know I'm really good at it. Anyone can give me any kind of graphic design task and I will fulfill it. The only problem you have, you need people or customer who is willing to give you money for it. And you don't want to go and ask your friend who can potentially be your client because for some reason you're like, I don't feel comfortable talking to my friend asking for money, whatever the
Right.
case is. Now we're talking like strict, really, really strict. There's a tool called that about 20 billion people, I'm exaggerating that number, are using. It's called Facebook.
Yeah.
So what
Yeah.
do you do is you go into Facebook groups, you join graphic design related Facebook groups, and then that's all you do. Step number one. Step number two, without you typing anything in there, you go read. Let's say you join 5 different Facebook groups and you read 5 different Facebook group, what people are posting in there.
Hmm.
Because all of those people are going to post the problems that they're having related to graphic design, whether it'll be, I don't know how to change the font, or how do I make this arc thing, or whatever the case might be. Those are going to be your potential clients. But don't go directly, make this mistake what a lot of amateurs do. Hey, I could do this and I'll charge you X amount of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
Because think about it this way, and I'll put this very, very vividly for you so everyone understands it. You go on your first date and you don't go ask a girl or a guy, hey, I want to kiss you within the 5 seconds of meeting you. That would be a little awkward. Wouldn't you
Just
agree?
a tad bit. Just a tad bit, yeah.
So that's basically what you're doing. If you're asking, as soon as you read the question, hey, I'm going to charge X amount of dollars, and then people are like, what? I don't even know you. Like, let's get to know each other. Let's warm up, So how do you warm up your potential clients? You go and answer their question, specifically their question. That's all you do. So that would be step 2. You answer their question within the group. Then step 3 will be tell them at the end of whatever answer you gave them, DM me or message me if you need more help. So what that will do is then if they are potentially interested in what you said and they need more help, then you have your client going from, I don't know you, oh, I know you, you helped me a little bit, let's go take the conversation further. So going back to the reference of dinner, we met, we're okay, now we're getting ready to order an appetizer. So that's that. So once they message you, then you're like, hey, whatever question they ask you, there's going to be very specific question to whatever skill you have. In this case, would be graphic designer. Then you tell them like, hey, I can do X, Y, and Z. And that point, when you're messaging them, you guys are like, hey, you want to get on the call depending on where the person is at. If it's local to you, hey, let's get on a call. And then at that point, once you get on a call, it's like a regular business B2B kind of thing. And then you can make your first sale. You do that 5 different times. And mind you, at this very point in time, you have no website, no clients. You are getting clients. Who is going to pay you? So people have a mindset of like, hey, I want to hire that guy. That's what you want people to say. I want to hire you, not get a free advice. I want to hire you. Because what happens in terms of mindset, when someone says, I want to hire you, they're already thinking, I'm going to have to give them money. For example, put this thing and validate this concept. When you go to a store, what's the first thing you think about?
What I gotta buy.
Exactly. You want to spend money, right? So that's the mindset you want to have. You don't want to get entrapped in like, hey, I'm going to give this thing free for you. I'm going to give this thing for you. And then people are like, oh, I'm going to come to you. You're going to give me free stuff. And as soon as you ask somebody, like, I want you to purchase something, like, no. I'm going to get you out of my way. I don't want to get in touch with you. So it's all about mindset, how you frame your potential clients to spend money with you.
I think those are very easy and definitely actionable steps that could be taken. One of the things that I think people are not utilizing enough are Facebook groups. For example, I'm part of 30 Facebook groups. I have no idea why I joined that many Facebook groups. And now in hindsight, it might have been the best thing I ever did, right? But at the time I was like, oh, that sounds cool. Oh, yep, that sounds cool too, right? But now when I want to promote something or just see what all the talks is about, that's where I'll go. I'll go into the Facebook groups, and within all the Facebook groups, they're not all the same Facebook groups. A lot of them have different niches and things of that nature. So, I want to make sure I throw that understanding in there. But when it comes to promoting for this episode, right, we'll just take, for example, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a social media package. I'm going to throw it in 5 to 6 to 7 different groups, that talks about business or entrepreneurship, or hey, maybe there's a group out there who's looking to do lifestyle, entrepreneurship, right? I'm going to post this episode in that group, right? It's just so I could spark the interest. Once I spark that interest, then I can bring people to my site where they can actually listen to the whole episode. And maybe they'll subscribe, maybe they'll comment, maybe they'll rate, maybe they want to hear more about, who else I have coming on to the show. So I really wanted to make sure I drive the point home, something that you mentioned about the whole Facebook group thing, That is something that we should all do. And in a sense, I feel that you're pretty much just saying, just do your homework first. Do your research before you start saying, hey, I'm doing this over here. Come check me out. You know what I'm saying? Am I correct in saying that?
You are absolutely correct. It's like before you can sell anybody anything, make sure they are your ideal client. And sometimes people confuse their ideal client to somebody who is a potential client. Ideal client to me is somebody who's ready to give you money. That's your ideal client.
Yeah.
Now you have to warm it up, not because
Yeah.
of that, and things of the nature. So to validate that idea, for example, when will you go to a doctor?
Only when I'm feeling bad. Only when I'm sick.
That's a problem because you are sick, you need solution right away, and you are willing to give the money away. At that point, the money means nothing.
Yep.
So put it to another way is like, for example, whatever business you are currently in, you're going to have people on the left-hand side which have zero interest in you, an idea or business that you have. And then you have 10 people who are literally are waiting to hear from you so they can give you money because they need solution to whatever business you have.
Yep.
So most people, what they try to do is they try to brand themselves around the people who have zero interest in them.
Yep.
And then ask question like related to the people like, hey, I have to educate that person. And then you have to bring that person from 0 to 2. And then once you're at 2, then you go from 2 to 5 and so on and so forth. What I tell people, forget the 0 people. They're not going to be your ideal client. The people you really want are the ones who are at 7 and above. Because they're like at the fence, like, I need this problem solved right now. For example, if I'm sick, I'm going to the doctor. I need medication because I want to get better. I'm tired of being sick. I'm tired of having this flu, or I'm tired of feeling like, oh my God, I can't move, or my body hurts, or whatever. You want 7 and above. And how do you get to 7 and above? You go into in your messaging or your branding, only communicate whatever problem those 7s to 10 are having. Forget what it is. Like, for example, if you, and this is a little strange idea, but I'm just roll with me for a second. Okay. For example, let's say you are at a point right now where you are about to get sick. You have a little sniffling. You feel like your body's a little aching. You're going to hold off a day or two until you get to the point of like, oh my God, I can't move.
Yeah, I can't take this no more. I need to get this resolved. Yeah.
Exactly. And at that point, even if you don't have the money to go to the doctor, you will find it.
Yeah.
Right? So if you are a doctor at this point, you don't say, hey, are you feeling okay? Or are you about to get sick? You don't say that because that's at this point from like 0 to 4. You don't care. Hey, I know you're feeling sick. These are the symptoms because you have a runny nose, you have a headache, your body ache, and you're sweating, and blah, 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 blah. And all of us have been a victim of this particular advertisement in the middle of the night when we're feeling sick and we see this infomercial. Do you have headache? Are you losing hair? Do you need oil in your hair? Or blah, blah, blah. And we're like, yes. I need that. I don't know why, but I need that now.
Yeah.
So that's 7 and above. So that's why people like, take my money. And all of us has been victim. We order stuff for no apparent reason. We don't even need it, but we hear like, we're sick, we need it. Yes, I just want to feel better.
Yeah. I would definitely agree with that. My grandmother used to live for Home Shopping Network. The only time she would buy anything from Home Shopping Network is late at night because she figured less people. If I try to do it earlier in the day, that's a lot of people that I'm going to have to try to compete. They may run out of whatever product that they offer at that time. But if I do it late at night, then more than likely everybody's asleep. I can get what I want. That was her thinking. And I used to look at her like, you don't even use this stuff. Like, what was you just wasted your money. But hey, listen, that was her choice.
Right, absolutely right. So so go from like ideal client, somebody who is in industry, your industry, and they are a problem level of 7 and above. Forget everybody else.
I think those are great tips. great tips. What is the one thing you wish you knew before you started your business?
Oh my God, that is a really good question. That is a really good question. I wish I knew when I started my very first business, which is photography, is no matter what I'm going to do, I'm always, always, always going to fail. And it's okay. Failure is part of success. The more time I fail, that just means that particular thing that I tried to do, it didn't work. I just need to find a better way.
Yeah, yeah. That's something that we talk about on the show a lot. You know, I like to submit this to the classroom. I have a IDGAF attitude. And for those of you who don't know what that means, that is a I don't give a fuck attitude. Okay. And I use that in I use that attitude for certain things in my life. When it comes to, for example, business, right? It's hard. It's scary. I don't really know what I'm doing. All of this is just me throwing things at the wall. Okay. And this is not to scare anybody, but let's be honest here. Nobody's a expert in business, and even the experts get things wrong, right? So I'm scared. I don't know exactly what I'm doing. This is just a hunch, right? When I get that feeling of fear that's starting to creep in, I acknowledge it, and then I again use the IDGAF. Okay, at this point, who cares what happens? Let's just do it, right? That's a way for me to get over my fear. And everybody in the class heard me say this plenty of times before. My I have an identical twin brother who had the fortunate pleasure of serving in the Air Force. And he had, if you ask me, one of the coolest jobs. And I make fun of him a lot because of it, but honestly, he did have one of the coolest jobs. He was in the Air Force he was in the Air Force Honor Guard, and not just for the base, but for the entire Air Force, right? So when foreign dignitaries came into town, he had to be there. When he had the opportunity to talk to 3 and 4 star generals, he had opportunities to talk to POWs, you know, special op teams, SEAL teams, Rangers, everybody, right? And we have this conversation often about fear. And he had this special training with some special ops guys, right? And he asked them the question, how do you get over fear? Because nobody wants to get shot at. Nobody wants to be in a shootout. If bullets come whizzing past my head, I'm trying to hightail it out of there, right? But these are the guys that's actually pushing forward with the bullets going past their head. How do they deal with fear? And I will never forget what they told them. Training. That's all they did. They trained and trained and trained and overtrained. So it's not that they're not scared. Oh, they are scared. But what they do is they acknowledge the fear and push the fear to the side so that they could accomplish their mission, their goal. So, like I said, that's something that we talk about often here. And that is something that we all need work on, continuously training ourselves, whether it's mentally, physically, all that type of stuff for us to get beyond our fears and to move forward.
Can I just piggyback on that? That's a great example in terms of fear. And I'm gonna go a little on the left-hand side and not get that extreme getting shot at. Just a
It's fine.
small
It's
fear.
fine.
So let's not go to that far. But if you are like a regular person, like not in the army or any air force for that matter, getting shot at, but if you have a regular fear of starting your own business, you don't know if you're gonna succeed or you're gonna fail.
Mm-hmm.
What I would suggest is, but let's just say it this way. Let's say if I want to open another business, for example, a woodwork or whatever, and the first thing I'm gonna ask myself, like, what makes me the expert? Or what can I do that will make me the expert, right?
Yeah.
So that's the fear itself. So in other words, at this point, you are validating to yourself, because that's the only person you need to prove to is yourself. Everybody else will just take you at your face value. And then we can get into a credibility, how people build credibility. And then I think you're really going to find that interesting. But let's just talk about focus on the fear part. How do you get over it?
Yeah.
So whatever you are afraid of, soon as you're afraid of something, one thing that happens into your mind, you can either go on the negative side of it, like, because you don't know what will happen, depending on your mindset, because mindset is a huge thing in terms of if you want to become successful. You can be afraid of things, meaning I don't want to do it, and then whatever. And some people like, I don't know if I'm afraid, because some people may not even know they're afraid of it. And then this is the test you could do if you feel like you don't know if you're afraid of it. As soon as something happens, just look at your body language. How does it behave? So for example, if you are afraid of something and you're just thinking about it, the very first thing your body is going to do is going to lean back and kind of get down in a position like you're like this, literally.
Right.
Once you're in that position, all you have to do is just get out of it and open up. And I promise you, if you do that 3 times, the fear itself is going to start to go away.
Yeah.
That's number 1. Number 2, just say to yourself at least 5 times, I don't know that is correct, but let me get curious about it and let's find out. What that will do is it will trigger your mind to think differently rather than being afraid. Then you get curious, and you are always excited about things that you're curious about. For example, when you go on a vacation to a new place, you don't know what's going to be there, but you're excited and curious about it. Is the beach going to be nice? Food's going to be great, and I can't wait to get there. When you get excited, for some reason, your body language itself is going to change, and you're going to move forward.
Yeah, totally.
And now what I want to talk about is the credibility thing. So let's go back to the dating world, because I love this, because this will make sense a lot, and a lot of people can relate to this. Okay. And let's say you go on, your name is John, and you're going meeting, I don't know, Michelle for that matter, and she's a gorgeous woman, and you feel like, hey, this is the first date you're going on, and then you're like, oh, you're excited, you and everything else, and then you go and meet the very first time. She's standing in front of you, and you are obviously standing in front of her. At that moment in time, she has 120% trust in you, and she has no negative feeling whatsoever towards you. What she's going to do, and this can relate to anything in business or in personal life, she's literally going to listen to the word you are saying and watch if your action meet the words. That's all.
Yeah.
And put things in perspective. If you want to build mega credibility in person or in business, you just have to do one thing and one thing only. Do the things that you said you were going to do. If you cannot do it, say that I cannot do that. That will also build trust and credibility to you, for you in person, whether it'll be, like I say, in personal life or in business. It's very simple. Yeah. And then what that will do is when you start to do the things that you said you were going to do, it will also at the same time build your confidence level higher and higher to the point where you feel like you are a lion. You can be given anything or you will demolish that thing.
Yeah. I love that. I think that is totally awesome. Everything that you just mentioned there. Okay. No more personal stories. Let me ask you this. How do you find balance between your work life and your home life?
Honest answer, because I'm a lifestyle entrepreneur,
yes,
I don't have to worry about it. It's all one. But I understand there are other people out there who have a regular 9-to-5 job and they're doing their other, side hustle kind of thing. Yeah. And then the only advice I will tell you is if you are with your significant other, have an open communication, because that's where most of the time the problem lies.
Yeah.
Because you are doing X amount of things. In your mind, you have one way of thinking. You're like, I want to get this done. I want to get this in. I have the deadline, blah, 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 whatever. But your significant other cares for you, rightfully so, that's why they're with you, and they
Right.
want the best for you, and they want you to not harm your health by working X amount of hours. They understand you need to get off the computer, you need to get off doing things, and then spend time. That's what it is. So
Yeah.
communication at this point becomes critical. And then you have to make time. You can't just be on the computer all the time, 7 days a week. That's not fair to the person who you're with.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
So what you can do is sit down with your significant other, say, honey or dear, whatever your name that you call that person, and say, I'm going to be working from 9 to 6 p.m. I know you would want to come in if you work from home and spend time with me and chit chat here and there. We could do that. But while I'm work between 9 to 6, I would like for you to just not bother me. I don't want to say no, not bother me while I'm working, but after 6 p.m., you and I, we could do whatever we want. But
Yeah.
and then going back to building a mega credibility is you after 6 p.m., you better not stay on your computer doing things, because that right there itself is going to lower your credibility
Mm-hmm.
with your significant other.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you do it, what you said, then it's going to build credibility higher, and also your trust level is going to go higher too. Next time when you say X amount of things or whatever thing to your significant other, she or he will believe and trust you without a shadow of a doubt. You're going to say you will do whatever you said you're going to do.
Yeah. I think that's amazing, mainly because I have that issue, and I will be completely honest, I have been getting better at it, mostly because of everything you just said. I've created these times where, I'm only going to be on the computer for this set of time, and after that, then we going to go out and do things, whatever else like that, and it made my marriage a lot better. Now, there's times where I might have pushed it a little bit. If I said I was going to get off at 5, I may have pushed it to 5:30, 6 o'clock. But as soon as I hit that time limit, it's done. Everything's cut off, or at least rather put to sleep until the next day. And everything I don't finish today, I will finish the next day. So that does work wonders for me right now.
Yeah, it's like going home, going back to what you were just saying, put off to the next day. Rome is not built in one day. You think you could accomplish everything you want to do in a day, there's always going to be something new that happens next day. So you give yourself that deadline, like after that's done.
Yeah.
But because what happens is after that deadline is done and you continue on, you're just exhausting yourself and your mental capacity has exhausted. You will not be able to think. But if you go take your mind off of that thing, come back the next day or X amount of time later, you will have a better, improved, and productive idea in which they will allow you to move faster.
Yeah. Yeah. So let me ask you this, because we're getting down to the last few questions now.
Okay.
What was the biggest mistake you made as an entrepreneur?
Oh, wow. That is a really, really good question. The biggest mistake that I made as an entrepreneur, I would say that I learned or didn't learn to say no earlier. That would be it, because there were so many different things, whether it be personal projects or people with business who was asking me. I always feel like, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, whatever that comes
Mm-hmm.
up in me, I want to take it. And then as soon as I started saying no, it decreased my stress level, gave me my life back, then I can actually enjoy things that I want and not be just all work, 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 work. So that would be it. As soon as I learn how to say no, I say more no than I'd say yes.
Class, I hope you definitely got that note. I hope you definitely got that note. The fact that you learned how to say, or the fact that you wanted to say no earlier, or the sooner you say no, the more, or rather less stressful your life tends to be. And boy, do we need less stress in our lives nowadays.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, if you think about it, that's what I learned in my life. Like, you want to go, 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 but in order for you to continue to move forward and forward and forward, you need your health. If you
Mm-hmm.
continue and then your health is going to deteriorate, then you won't be able to go any further. So
Mm-hmm.
health first, then everything else.
Yes, yes, yes. All right, last question. What is something personal that you want the class to know about you that cannot be found on Google or Wikipedia?
I am a very stubborn person. When I set my mind to it, I just go at it. I don't care whoever tells me, no, I'm going to figure this out. And that's my slogan nowadays. If I don't know, I'll figure it out.
You know, that sounds a lot like the IDGAF attitude.
I'll figure it out. It's politically correct, I guess, if you want to call it.
It's all good. It's all good. Well, guest
Yeah.
Professor Mark Kumar, I greatly appreciate you coming on to the show and into the School of Hard Knocks and teaching us this lesson on how to be a lifestyle entrepreneur and giving some tips on how we could either start our business or just take our business to the next level. So with that being said, I want to give you the floor for just a few moments for you to promote, to give a shout out to whatever else that you got going on right now at this moment.
All right. First of all, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to be on your show. I want to do two things. One, to help your listeners take their business or continue taking the business to the next level. If you can go to markkumar.com and click on contact page, and then in there's a where you can just get in touch with me, send me an email, to enter your name, email, and the message. And in the message part, if you just put in the name of this particular show, I will personally give you one-on-one session, 30-minute free one-on-one session, and to see if you and I can help each other out by taking your business to the next level by showing you the shortest and the fastest way to get your goal. And then if you are interested in that, you could do that. And after that, maybe potentially we can work on, you can hire me and I'll tell you all those things. Number one. Number two would be if you are a podcaster and you got sick and tired of these other companies who will limit you or rather not let you grow. And if you do grow, they will charge you more money. Check out our platform. We are very proud of it. It is called Simple Podcast Cloud. So you can go to simplepodcastcloud.com. What we do, what other companies don't do, we have one account, one plan, and you have unlimited shows, unlimited bandwidth, unlimited storage, unlimited pretty much everything. And we also give you a professional website with no ads whatsoever. And we do not control your content. You have full right to your content. Just go to simplepodcast.com, simplepodcastcloud.com, and then check out the system. And then over there, once you're there, you have full access to the whole system without entering your credit card for up to 14 days. And I promise you, people who have done this went there, checked it out. I know one of our customers who are using Libsyn, Podbean, when they transfer over, they're like, oh my God, it's so easy and simple. Literally, that's what we're trying to do. Keep everything simple. And they were like, wow, they just went on, got on the premium prime. But definitely go check that out. Simplepodcastcloud.com.
That is amazing. See what I'm talking about, class? See, I bring somebody into the show, into the School of Hard Knocks to teach you this lesson. And he's offering himself to you guys. And this is something that you guys should not take lightly. I highly suggest you guys to go check him out and all that type of good stuff. So, guest Professor Mark Kumar, again, I greatly, greatly thank you for being on the show and for teaching us this lesson. And to you, class, you know what I always say around this time. In everything that you do, make sure you chase after it with violent action. This concludes the class, and I will see you in the next one. Take care. About 15 years ago, I hated where I was at, and I knew that I was meant for more. Greatness even. I wanted to start a business, and I asked my friends and family, how do I start a business? 90% of them never started a business before, and the 10% that didn't remember what they did. So I went on and earned my bumps and bruises from the School of Hard Knocks. My inspiration for the School of Hard Knocks and the courses that I've created was to reach people that felt the same way that I felt way back when. Like I was destined for more. The purpose of the Genesis Project podcast was to move those same people toward that greatness with the guest professor that comes to the show and learn from their mistakes. This is a call to action to those who are searching for greatness. Join the School of Hard Knocks by commenting, sharing, subscribing, and get this message out to those searching for greatness. Click on the links in the description to get more information. And everything you do, everything that you chase after with violent action. I'll see you in the hallway.